Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Geoff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal, and I am joined by Sean Reider from Boise at Albertson Stadium, I guess I should say, in Boise. Sean, what's going on, man?
Yeah, we just finished up. I don't know if my connection's weird or anything like that, if you can hear me completely okay.
Unfortunately, I hear you just fine.
Okay. We just finished up post-game interviews with Jason Eck, Keyshawn James Newby, and Damon Bankston about UNM's 41-25 loss to Boise State at Boise State. That was a thin cover, 16 points.
Depending on when you got that line. But yeah.
So I think 16.5 was what I saw last. That was a thin cover for the Lobos, and I'm not going to say as weird of a game as kind of the San Jose State game. I think a lot of things were more clear in this game. I know fans right now are not particularly pleased with the play of Jack Lane. I didn't think he played great tonight by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think he played very good. He also wasn't protected particularly well. Saw a lot of pressure from Boise State. This was a game that UNM certainly had opportunities in. I mean, they were only down 3 at the half, and then
despite their own mistakes, they had plenty of opportunities.
Plenty of opportunities to really make a run at this one. To me, the backbreaker was the I forget. I don't even have the stats in front of me, but there was that mishandled snap. Not a bad snap. Mishandled snap is the way to put it. With Oscar Doyle, and he mishandles it, and he throws a touchdown right then and there, and that to me was kind of the back-breaking play. Keyshawn James Newby owned up to that one. He said that's on him. He needs to be the guy. He got distracted a little bit, was kind of looking in the backfield, and that was his responsibility. He owned up to it, and X said, we got to coach it better.
And that field goal, the fire drill field goal, everyone's scrambling and not really knowing what's going on, also had an interesting connection I learned about in the post game with Bankston.
Yes. Yeah, was on Weber State last year with Damon. Oscar Doyle.
The holder was was Bankston's teammate last year, which was pretty cool. And I thought it was funny how Bankston said, he's like, I'm happy for him. He threw a touchdown.
I thought it was a little funny too, Eck talking about it as well, in the sense that I don't know if he would say this. I think to a certain degree he was kind of like you almost have to like not tip your cap, but it was just such a wild play and completion, frankly. He said, we need to practice it better. But at the same time, there is a guy that blew it. But at the same time, it's also, when do you squeeze that play into practice?
Well, and that the post game video, I don't know exactly how he said it. I know you recorded it. You can quote him at some point this week or whatever on it. But basically, what he said was he had to look up the guy's name, and said
you didn't even get his name right. His name's Oscar Doyle, and on the stat sheet it showed O'Doyle, and he's like, "Good stuff for the Irishman, O'Doyle." Yeah,
for the Irishman, O'Doyle.
which is pretty funny.
But his point was when you're looking on the post game stat sheet to see who the guy even was, it means you weren't preparing for him, and it isn't that you weren't prepared. It wasn't we aren't prepared for this. It was one of those games where in that moment that was one of those plays where like, what are you going to do? So sometimes that just happens. Let's give the down and dirty kind of recap of for 2 weeks in a row. Well, really for all 3 of their losses now, 3 turnovers. You're not going to overcome 3 turnovers very often, and the Lobos haven't. And tonight, before the first snap from scrimmage, they get a penalty. Then on the first snap from scrimmage, Jack Lane fumbles.
Delay a game on the first snap too.
Delay a game on the first snap of the game is
not so great. No,
it just looks awful. You follow that up with fumbling on the first play from scrimmage. Your second drive, Jack throws an interception.
And for which, I know we're going to talk about this later too. To which, we'll wedge this in here right now, though. The defense did a hell of a job.
That's what I'm saying. Despite those 2 things,
right there, you're in the Boise State's in the high red zone at the 18, and they hold them to a field goal. And it's like, okay, that's look, you can overcome that if the defense is playing at that level. And then we get to the second interception, and I will let you pick up.
That's what I'm saying is that there are numbers throughout this game, and I'll let me go ahead and throw them up on the screen now. That not me. There we go. There are numbers in this game that are just insane. That it was as competitive as it was for as long as it was. And let me get that out of the way. Let me take that off. Okay. So you can kind of skim through those stats if you like, if you guys are watching on YouTube or however you guys are watching. But some of these numbers that I want to recap it's just insane to me that the Lobos were even in this game. 3 turnovers to 0. Number of plays. This is the big one that basically wore down the defense. And if you go by score by quarter, that's what a score by quarter looks like when one team has 86 plays compared to 54 plays for the other. And of those 54 plays, I think that final drive was what, 12 of them, I think. And it was at one point, it was, basically 80-30 or something like that.
It was worse than that. It was like 80-26 or something like that.
Was it?
Like yeah. I mean, it was a real bad disparity. Yeah.
It's
you're just
you're not going to win games like that, and you're not going to. Yeah, sorry. I'll just say this, and I'll hand it to you. You're not going to win games like that if you're a loaded team. You're definitely not going to win games like that on the road against the best team in the league when you don't have much depth. And as good as this Lobo team has been playing and the defense played for 3 quarters tonight, depth is not its strong suit.
No, and I really think the defense did a lot of really nice things tonight, and in a lot of respects. I don't think they played a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but I think this is a significantly better effort than what we saw last week against San Jose State. But look, 86 plays, you're just not going to hold up over that. I mean, there's just no way, frankly. That's got to be the most plays ran against UNM's defense in a single game this year. I mean, it has to be. I'd have to double check that, but I feel very confident in that statement at this point.
And I pointed out in the third quarter, I just looked up on the drive chart here, but this is what we're talking about here. This is the number of plays run by the two teams. If you just go down UNM's chart here, you can kind of see here, this little column right here with the arrow is the number of plays. 1, 4, 3, 8, 3, 1. Like they didn't at the end of the third quarter. Is that the third quarter? Yeah, the third quarter is when they basically had 1 10-play drive. But then even then, you go down to a 7-play, another 3 and out, and then the 15-play drive at the end. But here's what Boise was doing to the UNM defense. 8 plays, 6 plays, 13 plays, 3 and out. That's good. 14 plays, 9 plays, 11 plays, 9 plays, 9 plays, and then the final 2 drives, 4 and 2. Like that's just not a recipe for success against any defense. And there's a reason Boise State pulled away late and made this game look, final score look probably a little more deceiving than it was. I got to fix these records here. I have the records I see on the scroll at the bottom, but I'll hand this off to you while I fix those records. I guess the endurance, the stamina of a defense is going to get tested. What did X say about just the sheer number of plays his defense had to face tonight?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think of exactly what he said, frankly. What did he say? Do you remember what he said? Because I'm honestly
not on the number of plays, but I do know that he seemed, I don't want to say frustrated, but
I think the clear tone was, I mean, he did say, look, like we're not going to get done with 3 turnovers in the level this offense played.
Yeah, why don't we transition there to the turnovers, because there are some comments here, and we can put some of these up now, because the elephant in the room is I think Jack had his worst game of the season. I don't think that's
So
start off here with Leon Rice fan. Jordan is from a Boise State fan on X. That game was very stressful until it wasn't. I was going to say halftime. Hat tip to the former Vandals. I think that's a game. And I posted after the game just on X. I said I'm more impressed with this 16-point loss than I was with last week's 7-point loss for the Lobos. I think they kind of showed out a lot better tonight, and I think they come out of this game with a whole lot more respect earned, despite it being again a 16-point loss.
I don't know if I fully disagree. No, I don't know if I fully agree, honestly.
You don't think they come out with a lot of respect in this one?
I don't know how much. I mean, I think they gained some more respect, but I don't know if I personally agree. And it's not just the fact that they're 3-3 and they've lost 2 straight and all that, right? Like we always kind of knew this 0-2, this 2-game stretch on the road, San Jose and Boise State, was probably going to be 0-2. You were going to feel really good if you split, and it was going to feel like, holy cow, they're going to win 10 games if they go 2-0 in this stretch and all that too. I don't know if I agree. I can almost forgive the defense last week in the sense that, like, that's we saw what happened today when Eget went down and all that, and Wyoming came back and won that game. But I can kind of forgive the element of that's a really unique offense and a hard offense to play against. I don't know. I think in both games they really kept battling, which I think you give them a lot of credit for. But I don't know if I fully agree. I probably need to save these thoughts for a column and all that. Can you put that comment?
Yeah,
back up?
I'll put this comment right back up. It is about Jack Lane. I want to say this about the defense. As impressed as I was,
I'm not saying I was unimpressed by the defense. I think that was a good week-to-week jump. I also think in certain ways, more favorable matchup for this defense.
No, I agree. We said that on Tuesday. We said this is a better matchup for them than San Jose State game was. But here are the two notes I want to say about the defense. Then we'll get to that comment, which is a Jack Lane related comment.
Yeah.
I want to say that the explosives today were impressive. Were the explosives? Anyway, the big plays. And Boise State had one rushing play that they.
No, you're looking at UNM.
Mexico. They had 5 rushing plays that were explosives, and even one
Geoff,
of those was just.
Are you looking at UNM? Are you trying to get Boise's explosives or UNM's explosives?
See, I know how to handle this. I just tricking you a little while, taking me a little while. Okay, 5 explosive rushing plays for Boise State, and even then, 4 of them aren't what UNM.
Only one's a true explosive in the eyes of the staff.
Yeah,
they didn't help, but only one's a true explosive.
And then on the passing game, you're looking at 7 explosives according to this, but only 2 of them are over 20 yards. So I would say the explosives were great. I would say this was a classic bend but don't break kind of defensive showing tonight, because they were making Boise State have those long sustained drives, which eventually did wear UNM's defense out. But as impressed as I can be and a lot of fans can be, 3rd down and 4th down, UNM ends up converting, and this was late, but converting 6 of them. Boise State converted 7 third downs for first downs and 6 fourth downs, 6 of 7 fourth downs. So that's 13 times that the Lobos had a chance to get Boise State off the field that were converted to first downs.
And Eck pinpointed that as the one. He didn't say like the one like true negative from the defense tonight, but he did say, I think he kind of indicated in his eyes, yeah, that was probably the one thing we could not get off the field on the late downs there.
I mean, you're just not beating anybody when you give up 13 would-be drive enders, right?
No, and they were and Boise State was going for it on 4th down a lot. I think
was surprising.
They only punted once in the first half. They were 3 for 5 at halftime, I believe, on 4th down. But it wasn't like they were all like 4th and 1. There was a 4th and 4 in there that they were going for and trying to make it happen. So no, they were absolutely forcing the issue, and I think they forced it pretty successfully, given the state that this defense ended up in.
All right, let's get to some of these comments now. Pull these stats off here. Let's go to that, and here are the comments. All right, so Jeffrey Holland's been in for a while on YouTube before we even started the show and said Lane is regressing, still holding the ball too long and making bad throws under pressure, responsible for all Lobo turnovers tonight, and each one resulted in a score.
Regressing is, regressing. I don't know, because in a certain way, not in a certain way, you saw a lot of pressure tonight. They did not do a great job protecting him, but I don't think by any stretch of the imagination. But he's clearly sped up. Eck did say, though, he said at least one of the interceptions, he forced it. That's not something that he can do in this offense. And I don't know if I would say it's a one-game sample size and all that, too. I don't know if I would say he's truly regressing. I think this was kind of a tough matchup. And I hate to keep – I don't know, tough matchup. But he saw a lot of pressure. They didn't do a great job protecting him.
I thought this was his worst game. I thought he held too long.
Far away.
I thought he was locked in on the left side of the field like half the game. Like it didn't look like – I don't know if this was scheme and they were trying to protect him or what was going on, but his head would not even turn from left to right. He was so locked in to one side of the field on every passing play that it just looked like either they were trying to protect him or something was going on, or he was just so locked in that he was being so predictable. It was his worst game. Eck did say, it's worth noting for anybody watching, He's still the quarterback. There's not a quarterback controversy right now.
I asked him the question. I think it was the last question we asked in the press conference. And I mean, look, I mean, do you evaluate the situation? Do you look at it and, do you look at the quarterback situation? Maybe making, getting some more reps for James and making all that. And he did say, look, we had a package for James, but we didn't quite get to it in the flow of the game. But he said, Jack's the guy. They're rocking with him. There is no quarterback controversy. And I know that's probably frustrating as a fan because he's had 3 games where he's turned it over 3 times. And, those have been the losses on the schedule this year. But they're going to rock with Lane, I think, till the wheels fall off.
Jeffrey Holland's also pointing out the D is a bright spot, but you can't expect them to be on the field for 40 minutes and not get tired. Also, injuries are piling up, as are the penalties per game. I think
we can nix the penalties narrative. There were a couple pretty bad defensive ones tonight. That's probably another negative on the defense, frankly, that kind of just kept the sticks moving, gave them first downs.
Isaiah's agreeing with Jeffrey on that one too. Attendance. Well, we can do a quick jump on the attendance here, but
Eck did say he's posed a question. He said, I forget what the exact question was. I didn't ask it, but he did say, like, yeah, I know we're not going to have another sellout, but I hope fans keep coming out. I thought that was a little funny. They kind of acknowledged that. I mean, and he gets it. He gets the game. You need to perform, and you need to win games like this to force the issue of having another sellout. Just doesn't look likely. But
it won't be another sellout, and it won't be 30,000. And it's not our job to hype it up, but it is worth noting. Bowl game is still very much in reach for this team, and Nevada looks like a very winnable. Get right kind of game. Then you're sitting at 4 wins with still 3 more home games after that. There's four home games left this season. Yeah. And I just think that, UNM's still in a very good position. And tonight wasn't the end of the world any more than, last Friday was. In fact, last Friday was a worse loss than tonight was, for sure, in my mind. I think tickets sold will be around 21,000. Actual attendance for the next game will be at 15,000 because momentum has come down and it's a late game. Could be.
Why is this game at 7:45 p.m.? I know why, but why is this game at 7:45 p.m. Mountain? Why? I don't know.
It's for us. Yeah. For shows like this, people love the 12:30 a.m.
For shows like this, for guys who have deadlines. Yeah.
Guys who have deadlines, and not even 48 hours ago, we're hosting a 7 a.m. Balloon Fiesta live show. You realize that was just yesterday morning, right? No, I'm sorry. That's
that was
Thursday
2 mornings ago. What are you talking? Yeah.
And
it's been a long week. It has been a long
I'm not even
week.
the one traveling, and I can't do it.
Oh, God.
I still think there will be around 20,000 attendance for the Utah State because of the jerseys and the social media push. That could be true. Desert Lobo 72 is in. Too many penalties, as Zach would say. The Lobos beat the Lobos.
Yeah.
Richie. Boys, offense couldn't complement the defense for the most part. What's stopping us from sustaining long drives like the last?
They're struggling to run the ball. I mean, and that was that last drive and all that. That wasn't quite Boise State's starting line and all that as well too. The run game is a serious issue right now. I think we are at the point. Last week we kind of talked about it. I think we're at the point where this is a real concern. And this is not what anybody signed up for. This is not what anybody expected. I know they had to kind of abandon it a little bit later tonight too, in the fourth quarter. But this is not a good situation. And I talked with Damon Bankston. Oh my God, a guy just got totally just jumped off the equipment cart. He just got flung. Sorry about that. Wow. Dude, he took a tumble. I think he's good though. I can't be doing that. I'm beating myself doing that. But no, we talked to Damon Bankston about that, and he said, like, we're probably going to need to start meeting running backs and offensive line and just start going through things.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, like because they don't meet together, and I think that's pretty common. But at this point, like, you need to be doing just about everything you can to make that happen. I did ask. I know it's been something that fans have been asking about.
Well, here's let's set this up. Yeah, let's set this up real quick with that question because I know where you're going. Ronnie Chavez on YouTube is saying, what has happened to the FCS All-American Scott Ray Humphrey? And what happened to the Lobo team who played hard against Michigan and UCLA? Lane really struggling right now for some reason. Let's focus on the first part.
I thought they played hard tonight. Like, I think they did. Yeah, I don't think they quit. I thought they played hard. I think in the defense, we've been through it. they kind of just got a hole in their tire with how they were just worn down, right? 86 total plays. I'm not gonna fault them for that. And that was something that Keyshawn James Newby kind of talked about, like to a certain degree, like we got a little bit lazy in the run game. And I think they got lazy in the run game because they're playing so much and they're on the field. That's going to happen. The Humphrey thing is absolutely baffling. If you would have told me that this was happening at this point in the season, I would have been really surprised, really shocked. But Eck did say, I mean, I asked him what's going on with the carries, what is going on with the distribution in that room right now, and he did kind of know, like, well, like DJ only had 3 carries too, and all that. But I think he said the major thing, they think Damon is playing at a much higher level at this point. Maybe not much higher, but playing at a higher level at this point. And that's something that he said and kind of owned up to. I don't know. I think the positive is that, like, Damon Bankston, had like 188 yards of like all-purpose yards tonight. And granted, 100 was on that kick return, but like, I think he's a guy that can make plays for you. We saw that in the passing game tonight, and we saw it a little bit in the run game. But I think there's so many factors in why this run game just hasn't been what it was. Eck talked earlier in the week about needing more physicality up front. He said he probably needs to watch the film, but he said generally he did not like he maybe not didn't like, but generally thinks they need to be more physical up front. I think there is a little bit of people aren't quite on the same page in terms of what they're doing. Eck also said he felt that they didn't run at the right guys in particular. They're kind of getting beat on that note. But it's not a good situation right now. And that, to me, probably the biggest concern from tonight. I think this is something that until they get it right, maybe they just have to get it right at this point. It feels like the season is kind of hinging on that, because
this was supposed to be a running team.
Yeah, this is what's supposed to be built on, and they were going to start with the run, and they're just not at that spot right now. I think they kind of got a little bit outclassed by another team that really likes to run the ball.
Supposed to be a running team, and your leading rusher went for 9 attempts, 18 yards.
Is he even the leading rusher anymore? Is he?
Tonight he was. I'm saying tonight. 9 attempts, 18 yards.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Scottrey. My bad. I was like,
no.
Oh, I was like,
I'm talking about tonight's leading rusher, Bankston. 9 attempts, 18 yards. Scottrey Humphrey, who I still think he's going to be a big part of the Lobos going forward, but he had 3 carries tonight.
I don't know if he's going to be a big part of the Lobos going forward, man. I kind of don't know. I don't think he can't. Did he miss? No, he didn't miss the New Mexico State game. So there's not a. I don't think he can redshirt and walk out the door. But
okay, but here's what I'll also say is, if
I'm not suggesting that's something that I've heard or could happen and all that. That's just something that we're seeing more and more in college football. That happened with
Bankston if Bankston's returning kicks for you, if Bankston's going to be your leading ball carrier, if Bankston is catching passes out of the backfield, Bankston isn't going to be able to maintain that the rest of the season. So, I still think Scottrey is going to be a big part of moving forward, as is McKinney. But it isn't a 2-headed monster anymore. That's for sure. It is a one-headed lead dog who has 2 backups basically, and Scottrey has gone from the one-headed lead to the one of the 2 kind of split backups basically, which is surprising to me. It really is.
We at SDSU are finally back and look like a football team. SDSU is good. I didn't get to see a second of that game tonight, but so far, they beat the brakes off Nevada. It looks like took care of business.
Yeah, I guess I got to come around. I was the one reluctant to come around on them, and
I was too. I was as well. I was wrong. Shout out Sean Lewis.
All right, wrong, Geoff. Respect you earn with wins when you play hard against Michigan and beat UCLA, not perform the way they did the last 2 weeks. I think, based on Boise State people that were watching the game and aren't watching every single week a Lobo game, I would tell you that I think the Lobos earned respect tonight. They lost by 2 touchdowns, and I think they earned respect, but not from a perspective of watching it every single week and reevaluating where we set the expectations. You have to remember the expectations for this team from outside of Albuquerque and outside of the perspective of just kind of focusing in on one team all season. This was a team that was expected to win 3.5 games per Vegas. They've already hit 3. It's a team that was picked dead last with Nevada they beat Nevada by just a few points in the preseason poll. They are clearly not that. So yeah, this is a team that's much better than they were expected to be, and that's where you earn respect. Now, if you watch them every single week and kind of reevaluate after every week, of course you're not going to be exactly happy with what happened last week or even this week. But the big picture, you still kind of you can't evaluate game by game by game like that all the time. Sometimes you have to take a step back and say, okay, overall they're still much better than they were supposed to be. But I hear you. I mean, it is subjective too. It's not like there's a right or wrong necessarily on this. But I do think the Lobos earned respect tonight.
Yeah, and I don't fully disagree with you. I don't completely agree with you. I probably need to not have had the day that I've had and probably think about it a little bit more. But look, I was thinking about this during the game. UNM, the last time they came here, they lost 42-14 with an NFL running back. And then with a guy that would end up being a first-team All-Mountain West quarterback, although he wasn't quite at that level yet, making his first career start. Lost 42-14, and that game was competitive for a quarter, basically. Yep. They had an okay start, but it was never in doubt that Boise was in control of the game. This time, no. I mean, they were competitive for, at least 3 quarters. So that is something that you do. I think you do kind of have to think about. Yeah, and that defense at that time, 42-14 game was, couldn't stop a nosebleed. This defense kind of played their guts out. They just got worn down. And they're clearly more talented. Fly 2 Sky 505. Is it time to give Lobstein a shot? I'm going to say no. I think it's one bad game. I don't fault Eck for saying Jack's the guy and all that. If something similar happens against Nevada, I think that's really when you probably move over to the other side and say, no, I think something else gets to happen. I know everybody kind of saw the Lobstein drive and said, what do we got here? And I do see the point of view, right, where Lobstein can, I think, run a little bit more successfully, not quite like Dampier level. And that helps when you're getting that level of pressure put on you. But I don't know. I think Jack is still a guy that knows his offense really well, but just didn't play well that night. There's just no other way around it. Last week, we were kind of waffling on Lane's performance. Did play well tonight, and I think he'll be the first one to tell you that.
Ronnie's saying it seems like the team's just a step behind the opponent, Jackson Eck, tonight. And I did notice this a few times on the broadcast. Still kind of hollering out what appears to be the original call, not just sort of adjustments or anything like that. It appears he's kind of barking out the original defensive kind of plays, I guess. Right when Boise State was about to snap the ball, and it wasn't even like they were going as fast as San Jose State. So it did seem like there were some delays tonight in getting calls in. Certainly the delay to start the game when you start the game with the delay of game. So yeah, that was interesting. He kind of follows that up. Ronnie does with that one touchdown. I was frustrated with when the defense gave up the touchdown, when the safety or the corner, wasn't sure which, were not ready to cover that throw to the outside and got there too late.
Yeah, that was oh my God, I think that was Speech who was Drew Speech, safety, who was
I think that's right.
I'm pretty sure, because it was a jet motion with 82. That one out there. I think that's what Ronnie's referring to.
Yeah, I believe so. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Ronnie, you can correct us if I'm wrong. Yeah, no, I think you got to know that one better, man. Bringing that guy in motion, but that's a tough tackle to make, right? It's kind of a mismatch, but yeah.
Juan's pointing out that outside of the turnovers, the delay game penalties, Lane's unwillingness to run the ball is frustrating. He's not wrong, and that was something that you probably didn't. I don't know if whoever the color guy was on the broadcast tonight said it at least half dozen times that he did not understand on a read option why it was never really an option. He handed it off 100% of the time tonight and never kept it. Lobstein goes in there, holds it, and gets a first down on one of his runs, And but he also doesn't look very confident back there, is what Juan is saying. Maybe he's playing through an injury. I don't know. I think he played bad. I don't know that there was a specific reason for it. Maybe there was, but I don't know. All right. Ronnie pointing out there's 800,000 in the Metro. Why can't we sell out a 40,000 seat stadium every game? Nobody's selling out 40,000 seat stadiums that aren't power conference teams. Boise State's is a 32,000 seat stadium, and it was almost half empty by the third quarter. Now, it was raining, but I would tell you, too, that New York has millions of people, and they're not selling out football stadiums for college games. The number of people in the metro area and why like how that affects attendance, it's something that, look, I'm the Aggie, and I'll tell you, New Mexico State fans love bringing that up. Like, oh, I can't believe, UNM can't get more fans when they have more people in their city than us. That's just not really how it works. It's still based on the program and support of the program. And, New York isn't selling out a whole lot of college football stadiums. Now, Syracuse is up north in northern New York. But anyway, Jeffrey Holland is in. Any word on injury? Team captain, starting guard. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What about that? Didn't look good. Your right guard goes down and doesn't come back.
No word in the injury. I did
right
post.
Guard, right? Yeah.
Say again?
He's the right guard, right?
Yeah, Pierce starting right guard. End of the second quarter, close to the end of the second quarter. Boise State was UNM was kind of backed up within the 10, or right around there. And I didn't see the replay of exactly what happened, but he went down, was not bearing any weight on his right leg, and then did not come back. Was ruled out for the second half. And I did ask, was that something that, because Pierce is team captain. I mean, really well respected guy, good player. I mean, he kind of a warrior. I mean, he led the team, led the offense, I believe, in snaps played last year. I asked him, was that something that kind of affected UNM and all that? And Eck didn't really. I think it affected, but he didn't really indicate it in a I thought some of the guys that stepped in did well and all that too, but the issues that they were having were still there. So, yeah.
Ronnie is saying that touchdown you were referencing is the one he was talking about.
Yeah.
Richie's still showing up for the night game.
Richie,
he's not jumping ship. He feels like he needs to give the boys some support. I mean, I just, again, it is 2 losses in a row, and it's 6-0 in turnovers the last 2 weeks, which is awful. And that's not fun football to watch if you're a fan. But I just don't know that tonight was a game that you can't be overly critical of them losing, because they aren't the best team in the league, and they played the best team in the league on the road. Now, if you expected them to be the best team in the league, then yeah, I guess you could be disappointed. But I just don't think anybody could have expected UNM in Jason Eck's 6th game of the season to have already had his team ready to beat the best team in the league.
Yeah, I think you can be critical. I think they beat themselves plenty tonight. I mean, overly critical. I think you're right, but I mean, they had opportunities tonight. They couldn't take advantage. And I'm not saying it's like a jump ship kind of red flag or anything like that, but there's some aspects where, I mean, like the slow starts and the run game and all that too, like where it's just not a good situation in that regard, and that has to get fixed.
Well, I tweeted early on. I said, look, they've been now 5 drives going into that first drive. First 5 games of the season, they hadn't scored on their first drive, and then tonight they lose the ball 1 play into their first drive after a penalty even. They're now 6 games, and they're 0 for 6 on scoring on their opening drive this season, which is, opening drives, you usually go at least get yourself 3 points. You put together a game plan. Like, their offense can put together a game plan and put together drives. They've showed it all year, but for some reason that opening drive, they have not once scored not even a field goal. So it is weird. It is weird that they start games slow, they end halves bad, and yet they're pretty competitive for the most part. They played second halves pretty well tonight. They were just out of gas in that fourth quarter. It was just, you just felt for the defense watching them in that fourth quarter. And again, watching from TV, you hear the color guy talking about how he was surprised they weren't substituting in more the defense when they could have at times. And I just think like there just wasn't a whole lot left to go to. I don't know that the depth is there at some positions, and but that's why they were tired. Yeah. Let's spin it forward real quick. Actually, let's kind of, before we spin it forward, let's check in with the rest of the Mountain West real quick. What surprised you? Let's start with last night.
I think you'll know what surprised me.
Let's start with last night's game. Let's start with the Colorado State game.
Yeah, the biggest surprise, Colorado State just kind of runs Fresno State off the field. I mean, it just made them. I think a lot of people last night were pretty locked in on the baseball game and all that too. But yeah, I did not see that coming by any stretch. I thought earlier in the week there was a chance that Colorado State could be pretty competitive and all that, but going on hosting Fresno State, you're playing them in Canvas and all that. Did not see that happening. That seemed like a lot of pent up stuff, just kind of getting fully unleashed. This Utah State score.
So let's go to this Utah State score. 27-26 in the fourth quarter, just early in the fourth quarter, but Hawaii's up 1.
They are on the island. They're on the island. I can't.
They're on the island, which
I'm
sure you're happy about. We know that Bronco did not win his last game there on the island.
He did not.
But anyway, I mean, that's a good game. It is an undefeated, only one game, 1-0, but an undefeated Utah State team in league play. I'm talking.
Grammer, I know you were absolutely enraptured with this UNLV Air Force game.
I was, man. I watched.
Riveted.
I was 1,200 yards of offense, 99 points. Those are two today. They were two horrendous defenses. Air Force has been pretty bad at defense all year. UNLV hasn't been great at defense by any stretch, but they haven't been that bad. And you don't get to 6-0 with that defense. The defense that showed up today for UNLV,
you don't get to 6-0 without some of the breaks UNLV has got, man. I'm like, I mean,
100%.
I'm not saying that they're a bad team. I'm not saying they're a great team. But dude, they have had some breaks this year, man. This game, the Miami game, they have had some, man, to work with. Even the break of playing, dead on arrival UCLA, which now is 2-1 in the Big Ten. Unreal turnaround. That is aging very well for. It's aging well for both UNM and UNLV, but like at the same time, it's just night and day. It's not even like the same team. Even if it's a lot of the same guys and all that. I was trying to like work that out in my head today because UCLA may or may not have beat a certain program in East Lansing, Michigan, but pretty soundly. So.
East Lansing counts as a drink just because you didn't say Michigan State. Drink. All right. Some other scores real quick. Air Force, so Air Force UNLV, you got 1-5 Air Force missing a field goal at the buzzer to force overtime. At the buzzer, you like that? Basketball guy. San Jose State, I know it was an injury, but like I didn't expect them to be up as much as they were and then kind of doing what they were doing early and then losing to Wyoming. So props to Wyoming for scoring.
Yeah, big time credit for them making that happen. And obviously, Iggy getting hurt and all that as well is a huge factor in that game.
21 fourth quarter points in front of your home crowd to win by a touchdown is pretty impressive stuff. And then San Diego State, we already kind of touched on.
For Wyoming, there was a lot of noise around that, what was going on with that offense and how it was getting called and why things weren't going well. So I don't know if it quiets everything, but yeah, I mean that helps a bit.
I will point out too that San Diego State beating Nevada 44-10. It was 44-0 at the end of the third quarter. It was 44-0 through three quarters when San Diego State called off the Dogs and Nevada put up their 10 points in a 10-0 fourth quarter. So, props to Nevada for winning the fourth quarter when they were down 44-0.
They did it against Penn State, I'm pretty sure, too, which is not aging well either.
But they covered, I think, because of that, didn't they? Didn't Nevada end up covering that game?
I think so, yeah. It was like 36 points.
And that's the important stuff.
What?
And that's the important stuff. Did they cover or not?
I was thinking about this too. That UNLV game was going on. I had eyes on that, and I was thinking ahead. In the event, maybe I still write something similar. Just kind of like, is anybody good in this league? Like, is anybody really good? I don't think there is. I've said this before. There is not the gap between. There's not the gap that we saw last year between Boise State and UNLV and then everybody else. It's not even close to that at this point. It feels like anybody could go down. Well, maybe San Diego State, honestly. Maybe they're kind of the outlier, but I don't think they are.
No, not they've earned themselves back into the conversation at the top, but I wouldn't say they're head and shoulders above Boise State.
No, but they're taking care of business, so you give them that. But no. I don't know. This is a weird league, man.
All right, Josie's in. Lane is so hot and cold, especially the last 2 games. He'll nail some really nice throws, and then it's like he gets lost in his head. But when he's hot, I totally understand why X stands behind him. I mean, yeah.
He had a couple ones tonight where I was like, that's a pretty good throw. But it's contrasted with, look, he did not play. You can't turn the ball over. In the way that he did. And there were points where he just looked so uncomfortable back there. And that's an issue, man. And I did ask, Bankston, because we talked about on last week's show, Keegan Johnson was adamant and he was quite defensive of Jack, and said, like, we as an offense need to be better for Jack to be better. Like, we just as a whole, like, he did not put it on Jack or anything like that. Damon wasn't as defensive or anything like that. I don't think that's Damon's style though, so I wouldn't read into that or anything like that. But Damon, he agreed. He said, we need to be better as an offense tonight for Jack to be better too. And he specifically pointed to, kind of pass pro with like the running backs and all that as well, and pass pro in general. So,
trying to move our picture up just a little bit so we can get these comments in without blocking.
I can move up in the frame.
No, you're good. Ronnie, when does basketball season start? November 4th, I think, is the first game. Got some exhibitions coming up. Let's see. That is it on the comments for now. What do you want to do? Let's spin it forward to the Nevada game. Hold on.
Homecoming, Nevada, late game, 7:45 p.m. kick, Mountain. UNM will be favored in this game. Nevada is, I think, pretty clearly the worst team in the league at this point.
Yeah.
I think you can safely say that. I don't know if we can. You're saying Boise State is the best in the league. I agree. I don't know if I'm so firmly they're 100% the best in the league. But I think that's fair right now. Ronnie, one thing I was thinking about, Idaho plays in a temperature-controlled building, the Kibbe Dome. So maybe playing outside is something Jack is still not comfortable with. I would disagree. They played outdoor games, like in the conference and the Big Sky and all that as well. I think it helps a little bit to play in a temperature-controlled environment, but I don't know. That guy was playing football outside before he was ever playing indoors. So I don't know.
All right, Nevada. What are they going to bring to the table? What did their freshmen do tonight? Let's.
Yeah, I haven't seen yet. So you might know better than me, honestly. Carter Jones, 16 of 32, 177 yards, 1 TD, 2 INTs.
He also had 8 carries for -1 total. So, don't know how many of those are sacks. The longest run of 16 was the longest run of the game for Nevada. So,
Nevada ran the ball for 2.5 yards a carry.
Gosh, that's just a bad game. Smash that subscribe button if you want hot takes like that all season.
I was thinking about this a little bit too. Eckett talked about earlier this week that this game in particular, Boise State, New Mexico, was kind of a measuring stick in some ways to kind of see where you are as a program and all that. He didn't go too deep in it, but he referred to it as a measuring stick, right? And I kind of asked him a little bit about that tonight, and he said, like, yeah, we're clearly not at their level, right? I think this Nevada game is a measuring stick in its own regard, and maybe a more important measuring stick based on what we've seen over the last 2 weeks. I think we've seen that UNM can play with top teams in the conference, and they can come back on them and they can threaten them, but for reasons of turnovers and not great quarterback play and a run game that seems a little bit broken right now and all that. They're not truly threatening in the end, right? To win those games. I think this Nevada game is a bigger measuring stick because I'm not saying Nevada is going to be some big pushover and all that. Respect to Geoff Choate, respect to, I haven't seen the game and I can't say that they were living and dying. With every single play and all that as well. But if you can't put out a better product, a more thorough product against Nevada, I think that you refer to the idea of gaining respect, through a game like this. I think that's where you lose a lot of the respect. And I think that's where you kind of lose some other things if you don't even lose the actual game. Nick Arias, he was awesome in the pod last week. Shout out, Nick. San Jose State was dreadful tonight, just when all of us thought they had momentum. But yeah, that is a crusher. It's not great.
So I'll point out to the respect thing and the Nevada part of this. Like, remember, Lobo fans, a week ago, you thought you were asking, well, how are the Lobos not favored by 2, and well, how is San Jose State favored by 2? San Jose State was more than a touchdown better. It looked like most of that game than UNM, and won by 7. Like, UNM still has some flaws, and I will also point out that the team that you could argue maybe surprised us, the win that looked the least impressive for UNM was Idaho State to this point, right? Down in the fourth quarter, you got to come back and to beat an FCS team. I wouldn't get too certainly if you're the team, you better not get too cocky and overlook a Nevada team because they're coming off a 44-10 shellacking. Now, after 2 losses,
fair,
I don't think UNM will after 2 losses.
Yeah, I don't. After a 2-game losing streak, it is similar to the idea of could UNM be a trap game for Boise this week? I think after you're kind of knocked out of playoff contention with that Notre Dame game, I don't think they were ever getting overlooked tonight, and that was kind of made clear. So no, I don't think UNM is overlooking Nevada.
It better not be, but yeah, I don't think they will either.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably the way I'd spin it forward. It's a I don't know if it's a more important measuring stick, but it's another measuring stick, and it feels a little bit more urgent than this one. This was not a game that UNM was expected to win. This is a game where they're 16.5-point underdogs. I think even if they weren't expected to win, I think there are some things tonight that are still relatively concerning. And there's stuff that's really going to need to be sorted out if they're going to, because look, I think they have an optimal schedule still for making a bowl. They take care of business next week. They're, they're 2 wins away with 5 games to go. But things can get hairy kind of quickly. And there is a point too where, guys are getting hurt, and the complexion of the team is kind of slowly changing with those injuries and all that.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens there.
I was going to let me pull up the schedule real quick and show that. Where is it here? All right, we're 6 games in now. The rest of the schedule looks like this: versus Nevada in Albuquerque, versus Utah State in Albuquerque, at UNLV, versus Colorado State in Albuquerque, at Air Force up the road at the Air Force Academy outside of Colorado Springs, and then versus San Diego State in Albuquerque. That is a favorable second half schedule.
It's favorable, but also a little tricky, right? Like I think it is.
It's not a gimme. There's no gimmies there because even Nevada's not a gimme. I mean, UNM's just not a program yet that's ready to have gimmies. Their gimme this year was Idaho State, and they were down in the fourth quarter and had to come back and beat them. So,
say they beat Nevada, right? I think you and I both feel good that UNM can take care of business against Nevada at University Stadium, right? If they don't, well, we're going to have a wild post game after that, right? But I don't doubt UNM's ability to take care of business there. That they absolutely should do that. We'll see how convincing it is, but I think they walk away with a win there. Making a bowl, where do they get the other win here to make a bowl? And where else do you think they could get wins right now?
Well, obviously,
this 6-game stretch to start the season.
Yeah, so they need 3. They need to go 500. I mean, it's basically you have to be 500 in a season to get to a bowl game, right? In a 12-game season. Yeah. Well, now you're halfway through.
I think I have bad math too. Where else do they need? Where do they get the other 2 wins?
Right.
To make the my bad.
Right. So through the first 6, they're 3-3, and through the back 6, they need to go 3-3 at least. I would tell you that if I'm handicapping the most likely wins, where I would tell you it's Nevada, Colorado State, and Air Force. That's the easy way to look at it. And that's probably where I would stick with it too, by the way. But the other possible wins, I would tell you, would be versus Utah State. I don't know how likely at UNLV or versus San Diego State are at this point.
I don't know either. Because I think like UNLV. I mean, that they play with fire, man. I mean, like truly defensively, they do. And I could see UNM kind of making some things happen. But I think you need to see them, kind of run the ball, have a good rushing game, frankly, before they do that. San Diego State, I would probably, weirdly enough, probably lean UNLV over San Diego State in terms of likelihood. I don't know where this Colorado State team is going to be. I mean, they very easily could have been 0-5 heading into last night. I mean, it was not a good situation whatsoever. And I mean, they absolutely waxed Fresno State. So that one to me, I think it's still winnable in a lot of respects, and I think they'll probably be favored in it. But it's weird to project where they're going to be at. And then just going to Air Forces, I mean, is always tricky. Well, I mean, November 22nd, that's probably going to be like a snowy kind of crappy weather game. Whoa, you're really big now. Whoa. Yeah, I don't know. I still believe the bowl is in play. I think in the past couple of weeks, I wrote that I think 7 wins is probably a fair expectation for this team, given how they played in the 3-1 start. I don't think that's really the case anymore. I think 6 wins might just be the highest they can go. I think they get to 7 by really upsetting a UNLV or a San Diego State.
Yeah.
Making that happen there. So,
yeah, I would say that, I mean, look, okay, if we just look at the ones that they're going to be favored in, it would be Nevada. I do think they'll be favored in Colorado State at home, and I think they'll be favored on the road at Air Force. But I don't think they'll be favored at home against San Diego State.
Do you think they'll be favored against Utah State? That's the one in my head that I think they will be.
Well, let's see what Utah State's doing right now. They're now down 11 at Hawaii, which plays into this, right? I mean, how a team's playing and
they're on the island.
Stuff. I mean, so
think about that.
Yeah, I mean, look, Utah State. I
think they'll be favored against Utah State. I think they will.
Yeah, it'll be pretty close, right?
I think it'll. I don't know if it's going to be the full 3-point advantage and all that. I mean, I could almost see a pick 'em, frankly.
Well, I mean, look, it all depends on. Forget this Hawaii game. Even they host San Jose State next week before they go to UNM, come to Albuquerque. If Utah State's coming off a win against San Jose State, I think they're probably favored. If Utah State comes off a loss there, then maybe you're right. Maybe it'll be.
You're right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But San Jose State also may or may not be with. I don't know what the injury was to the quarterback. I just know he got hurt.
Yeah, we're going to need an update on Egat to see what happens there. But
all right, let's see what these last couple comments are.
Thank you to everybody for hanging out with us tonight and talking through it and giving comments and all that. 3.5 wins over, not looking good the way things are going, but got to be optimistic. Go Bows! I think they hit the over. I think they hit the over next week. Like I think they do. I could see it. I could see like an all-time bad scenario where they. That I wasn't seeing in the past couple of weeks where they beat Nevada and they lose out. I think there's some things that, are concerning enough that you kind of open to that possibility. I don't think that happens either. So,
all right. Off the beaten path here. Did you happen to see what Kirby Smart did?
I didn't see this. I saw people tweeting about it. I wasn't able to watch as much of that game as I want. Hugh Freeze has got a this has to be like not quite the end of the road, but like they needed to win this game. Like they really needed to make this happen. Cam Newton in the building.
Jersey retirement.
Jersey retirement. I mean, they needed to win this freaking game against this Georgia team in particular. I'm not saying Georgia is like Nevada, but this is not the Georgia of past. So I stopped watching around that.
I'm not saying Georgia's Nevada.
the Jackson Arnold. Oh my God. What was the play? I'm blanking on it right now. But no, what was the timeout fiasco? I'm getting thrown off.
Oh, he just went off on the refs. He was wrong too. It was well. I can see if I can pull it up, but I want to wrap up real quick the bowl eligibility thing.
Before we get into another hour, our SEC show, Albuquerque Journal, Southeastern Conference Live.
I still think they're going to a bowl. I predicted they'd be at 4 or 5 wins this season. I was wrong, and I was reluctant to go up to 6 when I was admitted, early on that they were better than I thought and got good quicker than I thought. But now I still think, though, that they'll get 3 of these games. I think they'll get to 6.
I think so too.
And Utah State might be one of the wins they get because, look, frankly, at Air Force later in the year, that's a month away still. Colorado State, 3 weeks away. You don't know how those teams are going to be playing then. You don't know how UNM's going to be playing then. You don't know what injuries, all that kind of stuff. Looking at it right now, you better just no more hiccups, though, right? You can't have more 3-0 turnover games.
No, you can't. I mean, they absolutely have to protect the ball better. I mean, that has to be the biggest thing. I mean, they need to start winning the turnover margin in these games, man. That's full stop. It just needs to happen at this point. I'm very and I'll say this too, like Jack is like genuinely like a pro. Like he is. I don't know how many people watching this have like listened to Jack talk or watched a video of him talking, all that. Genuinely a pro. I am. I'm not excited because you're never fully excited to sit down and be like, well, what was going wrong with like a guy who is, I think, a pro, but also very much a kid in a lot of respects. But I am curious to see what he says on Tuesday. We'll be talking to him then, and I think that's something that's going to warrant its own story out of Tuesday. Frankly, just catching up with Jack and kind of just talking through things and why there's kind of been issues at this point.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for your time, your comments. It is 1:12 a.m. We are wrapping up now. Sean's got a big night ahead since he did not even travel to Boise until today.
Yep. Thank you, American Airlines. Shout out the last 3 American trips I've done. I've either been stranded overnight in DFW, had my flight canceled out of Detroit, so I had to stay the night back in Michigan, or I got flown to Phoenix, was never going to make the connection because of the delay that they had, and had to stay the night in Phoenix. So thank you, American. You guys are the best in the business. Love you guys.
And I want to give a little pat on the back to Mr. Sean Reider, who is he's going through it right now. I mean, last night, not only did the North Texas Mean Green lose, the Detroit Tigers lost. Today, Michigan State loses.
Look,
that's all I got. That's it. I just wanted to bring those up.
It was pretty funny, like, because I was in Phoenix and I was able to, I was catching the early stuff and I was debating, do I buy in-flight Wi-Fi for this flight and, keep watching, some ball and all that, Michigan State's playing and all that. They go 24/7, right us on board. And I'm like, yeah, we're not buying the in-flight Wi-Fi for this. Like, this is not happening. Like, I'm not doing this. I wish I would have bought it for Alabama, Missouri. That seemed like a really fun one. A touchdown right as that game was wrapping up. I'm going to have to revisit that tonight for the poll, which would be a very interesting poll. But you're not going to pull up Kirby Smart?
Oh, I did not.
That's fine.
Go enjoy it. We'll talk about it Tuesday. Go look it up. But what time do you fly out tomorrow?
2.
Oh, it's not bad.
Tune in Tuesday for us to discuss UNM's game against Nevada and Hugh Freeze's job security. I'm sure we'll have some more content on that coming up soon.
Tuesday night, the Aggies play too. I know everyone here is really excited to hear that, but yeah,
you're right.
They play Liberty. Liberty. All right. Tuesday night, Tuesday afternoon, we'll have a show.
No, I'm going to show that Grammar's doing that while we have the light show going on here. And light show's over. Just feel like I'm in a fever dream right
now. I think Tuesday's show, what we'll talk about most is the reaction to this game. I think Eck, because you will not have talked to Jack yet by the time we do Tuesday's show.
No, and that's the unfortunate thing. Unless we go out and do like another Balloon Fiesta style show, we're not going to be able to get that in. Probably not. I don't think so. I just show up at your house at 4 a.m. Like, we're ready to go. We're ready to make this work.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Sean Stuffle's online. You can go check out his takeaways from this game, abqjournal.com. For you print subscribers, it will be in Monday's print edition because it was a late game.
Yep.
But it's already online. He'll have more follow-up tomorrow for online, I'm sure, too. And there you go.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And
yes, I can. I can tell you real quick on the basketball recruits. There's not a whole lot to tell you right now. That's the main thing I can tell you right now. But I can, before this season starts, I can kind of update you where everything is with all that. But their philosophy right now is they're focused on the team right now and not much on any recruiting.
Thank you to everybody for tuning in and spend some time with us tonight. I know it's a late one. But yeah, thank you for all your comments and all that as well. It's always awesome.
Thanks, guys. Sean, safe travels.